you getting close enough? Maybe I can zoom even more. How's that? That's very not there now. Like, it's weird that I would dare to put this thing near my head, like straight up against my head. You can see how boofy my hair is. Smells good. I want to see if I burn myself right now. That's what I'm going to do. Let's see how much steam comes off. Wait, what temperature we got? 190. Okay, here we go. It's default temperature. Oh shit. I can hear it sizzling straight away. Whoa. Did my hairs just disintegrate? Feels like they should have. Whoa. Whoa. I'm scared of this thing, man. Scary motherfucker. Is there any smoke? Oh, my head. I can see. Whoa, fucking scary shit, man. All the smoke coming out of this thing. Is that hairs that have burned? Whoa. Fuck. It's dangerous. These fingers here are about to get fucked. Burned, like, because I don't want to touch this. I don't want to touch it with my head, or I don't want to touch it with my hair. But I chose this over chemical straightening for the price, basically, because it's not going to stay straight using this. I think it only stays straight until you have your next shower, probably. I'm going to try and do it a bit. It's not the sort of thing I feel like safe to go around behind the back of my head and just do it without looking. Oh. Oh, fuck. This is too scary, man. I can't believe how dangerous this thing is. It's basically a stove that you hold in your hand. You could totally cook with this thing. You could totally cook with it. I reckon you take a piece of toast, you go shh. Ding. So far I haven't burned myself, which is pretty lucky. Just slid right next to my ear. Oh fuck, I just burned myself. I don't know that this is a very practical option, and I don't know if I'll ever want to do it again unless I see amazing results from what I'm doing right now. I'd say the boof has remained just as boofy. This says to use on dry hair, and this says to use on wet hair. You see where the world is fucked? Could have been that it was just not hot enough, and it's still not at 220 yet. See, the problem is I'm always tempted to cut my hair short when it gets to this point because I don't like the boof. But I know that my hair would look better if it was long. And I measured these. It's not 7 inches wide, it's more like 6.25 inches, well, 6.5 inches wide. And then it's about 4.25 inches deep. And I just measured my scalp, my shave zone, and that's 3.25 inches from there to there. From the top of my top notches there. Didn't measure the width, but I would be going with a new potential cut. Like I'll cut this according to how it looks best, and then from that potentially I can make the ultimate perfect stencil for the first time ever. Okay, 220. That's good luck. Right, just trying to get rid of this boof chunk here. Let's just start with that. Does it seem straighter somehow? Maybe. I can sort of smell my hair burning a bit. Oh, it's hot to touch my hair. Fuck, really? My hair's remained hot, which is interesting because it didn't hurt my scalp. Oh, did you hear that? This is stupidly hard to do. It feels so dangerous. But I'll still use product in my hair. It's just that, as you've probably seen if you've seen my hair before, it doesn't matter what product I put in, it sort of goes back to being curly all the time. And I try to put product in basically to sort of keep it under control. See, I don't even know if I can wet my hair to style it after I've used this thing, or if that will fuck the straightening work that it might have achieved, if it has achieved anything at all. Certainly hasn't decreased the boof. I'm going to turn it off. We'll place it down here. I think I've got a plastic bench, so hopefully it doesn't melt. Okay. You can see the greys starting to come here now as my life ends. as I take my last breaths. So if I pull it out sideways compared to this side, which is probably wetter. And in regards to the fact that I'm going to dye this, both of these, I'll probably, I don't know, I really wanted to show you the Just for Men, see if it works over time, but the truth is I haven't been having a shower every day. I'm hungover from going out last night as well. It's been a fortune on alcohol. That does seem to be behaving differently. It is still boofy, very boofy, but I feel like it would maybe be more compliant. Do you think? If you look at that behavior versus this behavior. I did straighten this a bit at the start, but I didn't do it at 220 degrees and I didn't hold it for a few seconds. Whereas this side I went, I gave it more of a straightening attempt. So I pull it forward a bit and it sort of stays, and it doesn't stay back. But I think my hair's so thickly positioned beside each other that it's forcing itself upwards no matter what. So boof might not be avoidable, but if it could be sort of straightened to be controlled and brushed in a way that looks good, that could be good. The other thing is the perimeter provides coverage when it merges over the top of the hairpiece. If I straighten it, it might not be a thicket, it might be a clear, obvious division. But I am going for a brush back look, whether I like it or not, because this hairpiece came stitched in that direction. I don't know how well it would come down for a brush forward look at the end of the day. If it's, the longer it is, the more likely. It's such beautiful blonde hair, really. I love this hair. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think this saves me bleaching the roots, and I can never bleach the roots on poly anyway. So just once again, have a look at how invisible those roots are. I don't know how much exposed base there is at the front there, whether or not I need to go back over what LordHair did when they chopped off that front bit of plastic. And also maybe the line is too neat. Maybe it's too neat. So it would just be a clean, robotic, like, what was that movie called with Jude Law and the kid from I See Dead People? AI? Steven Spielberg, is that what it's called? AI? Anyway, Jude Law has a very plastic hair line because he's a robot. And I don't want such a... Okay, now I'm starting to see it's quite a clear difference. This comes up to its full majesty on the left here, see? Because it's potentially straightened, right? Well, still not completely straightened, I suppose, but it's sticking out to the sort of maximum distance it can, whereas this one recoils into its curls. I also wonder sometimes if this thinning area here has less hair growth than this, which means maybe I should be chopping away at this. So I reckon my hair position should be about there. At the moment, because there's no glue holding it down exactly, you can see the shadow. Not too bad because I've got a bit of sweat to hold it down, okay? So this should be a fair indicator of how realistic that hairline could potentially look. And then I'd style it, obviously. And then I'm going to dye it to try to get this color using So Color by Matrix and Developer. You can see the excess, how big this hairpiece is. It's quite wide. There's There's no way to know where the center is exactly, you just got to feel for it, which is not a very accurate way of measuring things. So usually I come up there pretty much, but with this one I might give it a chance at going all the way, sort of across, because it does have the width to accommodate that. But in the past I've found that to be quite annoying when the sides of my forehead are not able to breathe. And then in terms of where my perimeter ends, there should be surplus of about 1 inch or something. So the best way to cut this would be to double check my measurements. See, I've got this idea that I could potentially stop having the triangles on the sides. I thought it was 3 1/4 inches. It's not, it's more like, what is that? 3 1/2. Even 3 1/2 is probably too short. Three and a half is too short. I need to get it down to, okay, tell me this. Where's the half mark? Okay. All right. So is that 1 inch there or 1 inch there? I feel like that's 1 inch where it says 1. And then where it says 2, it's 2. No, it's the line directly to the side of it. So the number and then the line. So the line next to it, okay? And then I guess that's the halfway mark, 3.5 there, then 4, then 4.5, then 5, okay. So we got oh, 3.6 maybe. It's hard to see with these glasses falling down. So no, up there, that's what I want. Yeah, actually it's more like 3 1/2 if it's up there. No, it's a bit further. It's just slipped. That's what I want there, 3.6. I don't know that they measure it in 0.6. So there are 8 units of measurement, 8 divisions per inch. So 5/8, 3 5/8. Fuck, I hate using fractions like that, it's so primitive. And in terms of the width, I'll mark that later. But the first thing I'll do is I'll go down here at 3 5/8. I'll mark wherever that is with a temporary marker. Then I'll guess the curvature. See, this rounded thing, I like how it's rounded because then it gives you leeway when you land. But for me to accommodate that, rather than having a triangle here on both sides, I would need to shave out a weird area that's imaginary. And I thought maybe if I did that, I just keep buying these things forever, they'll be exactly the same size each time, but they are cut by the factory. They're not exactly accurate. They look very accurate. Whoever cut it is very neat. But on this one, it's different cut. So you can see the sharp edge cutting on that side and that side. So this one was less neat. So I can't rely on the factory. It's not made by a machine, it's made by hand. Getting the Auschwitz tag off might not be a problem because that could be in the slice zone if they position it far enough back. The one on the right is further in, so that might remain on there, I don't know. As far as this is concerned, I don't like using it, I've got to say. But if it gives me a good result, see, I mean, if I was wearing a hairpiece right now while I was doing that, it could be very dangerous for the plastic that's all on my head melting and the glue melting and just danger. Plus, it's going to be brushed back, then those hairs would be at risk of getting burned by the edges. A bad thing. Well, it certainly didn't debuffify my hair. Yeah, I'll mark 3 5/8 with the marker on both of those, and I'll go ahead and chop them out. I'll finish up tomorrow probably because I'm too hungover. Alright, I just marked 3 5/8 on both of these, and you can see that the Auschwitz tag will be included in the hairpiece. Both of them. At least 50% of it. I just realised there is maybe an alternative to this. Because this is oversized, and I could cut out whatever I want probably, and I think the stitching is all logical, always going nose to spine. If I don't want a brushed back look, which I kind of don't, because I'll part my hair and stuff, and it'll still be effective to have blonde as a base, right? Because the roots are so hard to see now compared to usual, right? The doll's hairlines are so much lighter. Given that, I don't have to adhere to this CC line that they've made for me. I could do it this way and cut that out in a CC way. The whole thing's a waste of money though. $199 each. I had a $100 discount though, but still, it's a lot of money compared to getting a rectangle. But the reason I got these mostly is because I didn't want to have to wait for a custom order to be made for me, which can take months. Okay, you've got a video now you can watch pretty quickly because it didn't take long. So I don't have to obey what they think the front is. And I think if I went this way, anywhere along, but it worked to be a brush forward hairpiece. Should I do one of each? A brush forward and a brush back. They are 0.06, so they're likely to last for months. If I keep cleaning them. I just really don't trust having a plastic line along there, like with no way to brush forward, because it's just, you know, it's going to be impossible to try to brush against the stitching. So I might disobey that line. Unfortunately now that means that this Auschwitz tag is basically going to be right here, right along the front. So if I'm going to do that, I have to remove the Auschwitz tags. And I just have never been able to succeed at that. Whatever glue they use for the Auschwitz tags, it's the best glue known to mankind. Every time I've ever tried to remove it, you can hear that my thumbnail is snagging at it, but it just never lifts. I put holes in lots of hairpieces trying to remove the Auschwitz tags. Now, what I found with removing tape from hairpieces, which was it was the hardest thing probably I've ever done with hairpieces, removing the tape. I had to use a foot heater and just blast it constantly, and then eventually the glue stopped. But you know that the danger of heating this up in a big way, not only just melting the plastic visibly, but internally, these are V-loops that are being held in by plastic that's been melted together or glued together. I'd be weakening that internal glue and fucking up the hairpiece just to remove the Auschwitz tag. Because if I can't remove this, I can't go backwards. All right, I think I've got the corner exposed, that's good. Come on, you can just peel off. Just peel off. I'm so worried I'll put a hole in it. I think I will put a hole in it. I don't think I can just gradually peel it like that, can I? Will it eventually lose its purchase? Oh, that looks like it's coming a bit, maybe. All right, come on. It really looks like it's going to rip, doesn't it? At least it's 0.06 millimeters, so it's got more of a chance of surviving. It's gonna rip. It'll totally rip if I do that. I have to kind of melt the glue if I'm gonna do it. I really wish they wouldn't put these things on. But just for your purposes, you can read that, and it says number 18, and then some other code. Number 18 is the color. I'm pretty sure hair pieces go from 1 jet black to 22 bright yellow. This is 4 off the brightest yellow. I think it's called medium blonde ash or something. Gonna rip. No. Yeah. I've been asking people for years how to remove the Auschwitz tags, and I think I read about 5 people scattered throughout the last decade and a half have written that it's easy. I've done it 1,000,000 times, and that was their answer. So fuck those people. If they did. They might have. I have reasons to not believe them though. You saw what I did, right? Picking at it, that's not enough. I've used C22 a million times on those things. It doesn't have any effect. Heat worked with the removal of the tape when it was being held on by Ultra Hold. But this is definitely not Ultra Hold. Whatever glue this is probably super glue or something. I don't know what it is. It's like an amazing glue though. So my boof doesn't seem to have gone away at all. Maybe it's more controllable when I brush it. I don't know. I'll get back to you when I figure out what I'm going to do with this, but I've realized now there is potential for me to not have to have a brush back look without that plastic there. I feel secure and safe when I can hide my hairline. Even though when you have a hairline, you're joggling, that's the word, I looked it up. All these years I didn't know. Other words I looked up were like paste. When I was painting glue into things, paste. It seems easy now because I've said it, but if I asked you what's the word to paint glue into something, is there a word for that? Yeah, of course, paste. I didn't figure it out quick enough. But joggling, you probably never heard of it, right? It's not juggling, it's not jostling. Jostling is to shove. Joggling is to leverage something up and down to weaken it. And I need to joggle this plastic off. This is the other one. It doesn't want to come off. And I definitely don't want it right there. So, if it gets too hard, I'm just going to have a brush back look and deal with the plastic line. It doesn't grab. It's not. I've already started tearing a hole in it. I already cut a hole in my hairpiece. It's fucked, isn't it? Can't make this the front hairline anymore. Dunked this in C22 solvent and it didn't do anything. Didn't help at all. Then I just tried to chop off that extra bit and the scissors went right through all that because anyway, fucking hate those Auschwitz tags. If I want to mark the outside edges of where this should land, I guess I could say, I never know where the center is though. Left-handed. Hell of a mark. Yeah, that's impossible to read. I can't tell where to cut based on those two marks. That's just awful. So I'll go thereabouts maybe with the scissors. By the way, when I cut through this bit, it will be floppy because I'm going to cut through the break. Wish me luck. I'm going to go like this. So rough, isn't it? When I'm measuring this. Oops. Start on this side. Fucking Auschwitz tag. All right, let's see if I more or less got it about right, maybe. Well, you won't be able to see because it's all concealed. This should be overhanging. I was quite, I think I was being what's the word? Conservative. All right, yeah, there's going to be a lot of overhang. That's all right, good. I'll sort that out later. Unless I've mispositioned it. I was thinking about keying the shave zone to make it so that some of it had to go into a lock system. That's way too much remaining. If I positioned that first, the hairline would be pushed all the way down to there, which is about seemingly, well, half a centimetre off. But you know, when you find that there's too much exposed base and you have to cut it off, you're losing half a centimetre each time anyway, at least. So better to be safe than sorry. So what I would do next is probably dye all this, dye my hair, and then stick this to my head and then dye this as well. And I wouldn't dye all my hair, I would just dye the sides where the greys are most prominent. I have a few greys here, which means there are greys scattered throughout my head. The interesting thing about dyeing is you experience a great deal of change. You know, it softens the hair as well as dyeing it, which sort of almost like works as a hair relaxer, getting rid of the boof. So when I do eventually decide to start dyeing all my hair, the thing is I just don't trust hair dye to look good. I think my hair is probably multicolored if you exclude the greys. And it's not just one uniform, you know, packet brown color. I really like this, but I wouldn't want to dye my hair this color, I don't think. How would I go being a blonde if I made myself that hair color right across the board? Then I'd have dark roots. It would be weird, wouldn't it? It would be very hard to maintain the exact right blonde color. You know, color 18, medium dark brown ash or something, medium dark blonde ash. I'm just shedding all the hairs and inspecting to see if it was made well. That's medium. That's dark blonde when it's wet. And that's what it looks like when it's dry. It looks almost like what my hair color looks like when it's wet, slightly. It's amazing how much water changes the color of things. Still got the Auschwitz tag in there and the little split as well. Given how hard it has been, I tried C22 and I tried the heater. I could not get the Auschwitz tag off. So I'll save this one just in case I can figure out how to get rid of the Auschwitz tag, because in order to accommodate my shave zone length, I would have to keep that right there, right in the middle. The fucking Auschwitz tag. It's always going to be something. Am I undoing all the good work I did with the hair straightening iron by wetting my hair? At the end of this haircut, after I pull this on, I'll trim that so it's shorter, not shorter, but shorter. We don't have enough words in English, or I don't know them. This is what it looks like without a haircut. Let's see the how much better the doll's hairlines are using a blonde base. I'll flip the cameras there again, have a good look. Right. Is the phone able to focus? I'm gonna experiment until it looks okay. And then, of course, I'll dye this so it looks good dry as well. And I'll sleep as well. because I can't see my phone screen. Which freaking camera is it? I inadvertently clicked a bunch of buttons. I was just saying that it looks like this is going to have potential, so long as I don't fuck up the dyeing process. Because my whole objective here was to get, which camera is it now? That one. All right. My whole objective was to get invisible roots, and this could work. And if it is long enough, I maybe could brush it forward, but I wouldn't have it this long. I'd go 3 and maybe 3 inches. Feels too low. It's too low. About there, it's better. Anyway, I can't brush it back, the whole thing will just fall off. But you get the idea of how much of an improvement we're going to see with the roots. No more doll's hairlines, hopefully. Alright, I had some sleep and lucky I haven't got my glasses on, so I don't have to look at this abomination. Boom! Fucking hell. Be better off bald, wouldn't I? My Facebook feed, which I hardly look at anymore, has been overflowing with hair transplant videos. Maybe I can get it done in Melbourne. I don't know how much it costs. I'm assuming it's upwards of $20,000. That'll be a year's income, I guess, probably. I don't know if I would fully trust it. This is not too bad compared to, you know, a full head. But as hairs disappear up here, I'd probably do what I can, you know, finasteride and everything. Just keep what I got. But I don't know if my dick's still working as well as it once did. Probably is, I don't know. I don't know if impotence is a definite outcome from using that. Before I proceed with this and dyeing it and everything, I told you I was gonna test this stuff out, which is just once every shower until you get the results you want, and then you stop using it until it starts going grey again, and then you keep using it. I want my hair to look good all over, so I'm gonna dye my hair with real hair dye now. These greys are getting pretty bad. It's not gonna stop. In terms of what I achieved with this, I can't see any difference really. It's definitely not less boofy than this side, because I remember I did this side way more than I did this side. I was just hoping it would be nice flowing hair or something after using these, because I've had chemical straightening done before and it really does give me a flowy hair, and it really, I guess, I don't know, it feels like it thins the follicles, not follicles, the strands. I'm gonna wash my glasses. Then I'm gonna go get the hair dye stuff. I'll come back here and I'll show you the percentages I'm gonna try to mix. In the past I've used too much developer and it's been too light. So I think I'm gonna go maybe, I don't know, 40, 60. Okay, watch off. I'm just thinking, will these glasses stain? They will, won't they? They're not brown, they're blue. I'm gonna go choose a pair of glasses that aren't gonna stain, because these are pristine. This is my old prescription. Yeah, a bit intolerably dirty, but it's all right. These wiry greys. You can see how the greys behave a bit differently from the rest. They're just, all the others are just curling boofily in a way that I don't like, but not nearly as wiry and erratic as the greys. Just dead hair all over me. Got this stuff. These are still the gloves from last time. I washed them last time. Don't need to ruin the environment more than I already do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I had a COVID jab in my right arm and a flu jab in my left arm 2 days ago. My right shoulder still hurts, like quite penetratively painful. I had it because my mum's got leukemia and well, she's in remission. And I want to hang out with her. And I've got a bit of a cold now, so I'm going to be careful. She's got low neutrophils, which are the white blood cells that help with your immunity. I don't know what I'm talking about. They are some white blood cells, I think. Or maybe it's a part of a white blood cell, I don't know. But they're low. And her immunity's not good, so I can't give her diseases. So I'll start by mixing this stuff in the gloves. Bend over. I was going to just say bow, as if, the joke was implied, but I might as well give it some half-assed attempt at comedy. All right, this is So Color pre-bonded permanent medium brown mocha from Matrix. I squeeze this much into this little bowl thing. This is cream peroxide for hair. It doesn't say the word developer on it. I've read it before, but I'm pretty sure it's called developer. Poison. Okay, and in terms of that, I'll watch it, so I care more about my perspective right at the moment than yours. And I've mixed that much in. It might be too much, I'm not sure. It seems like the right amount, I don't know. I don't feel like I've got enough mix in there overall. I'm gonna do this one-handed because it's covered in shit. I'm just looking at it thinking, I'm not gonna be able to cover all this boofy sides. So I'm having to add more. This stuff took a long time to order. There wasn't much available in the world. I mean, in Amazon. So now I've increased the amount of the dye in terms of the percentage. I think that should maybe cover everything, hopefully. Unfortunately, I've got to take my glasses off for this operation. If I was doing my whole head, if it was all grey, it would require a lot more of this stuff. I'm not going to bother with those 2 strands there or the other 2 strands throughout every square inch of the head. Square inch, yeah, you're converting me. Human heads are measured in inches. Like other body parts, the human head is comprised of eyes, nose, mouth, brain, and skull. The face, which ends at the forehead and goes around to the start of the ears. Yeah, I would not say the ears are part of the face. Nobody would say that. I'm pretty sure somebody's mathematically decided exactly where the face ends in terms of the curvature under the chin and the cheekbones. And even if you're overweight and you have a chin neck, I'm surprised there's no fat insult, single word for the chin neck. Check, no, not funny enough. The nin, I've got a nin. You could use the word jaw instead of chin and try to do jack. That doesn't sound funny. Nor, no, means too many other things. I think we're fucked. Can't insult it. Where does the face end now? Face ends there, where there's a shadow. Now, is my face just grown? I think it has. Like a chick when she sits down, her ass grows. It's amazing. Like, I mean, it's almost like it defies the laws of physics. E equals MC squared, but not when it comes to female asses. They sit down and the width just triples. It's amazing. I love it. It stops me from getting work done. Boom, finished. Look, they seem to dry over time in the cupboard, even like that. Although I guess I'm making it perfect now, aren't I? Perfect conditions for drying. I'll flop them in there, leave a bit of residue water, and put the lights back on all this stuff. And set the alarm. Alexa, set the alarm for 40 minutes. Alexa, set the alarm for 40 minutes.
40-minute alarm set for 12:16 p.m.
Okay. I'll be back. I'm just looking, sorry, you can see the clock. You can tell how much time has passed. My previous stencil compared to the size of this thing, right? It's significantly different. Sorry, that's the front there. So what I'm doing different this time is I'm going all the way across to there rather than coming up here, which means that whole thing becomes a lot wider. Just to give you some indication, I mean, a lot of people's foreheads are about the same size, so I'll measure this one. It's closer to 6.5. And then this thing is only 5.5. It's an extra inch. So, I mean, in terms of depth, I know the depth is wrong. We looked at it yesterday. This one is 3, pretty much exactly. And this one is currently 3 5/8. And my actual area that I need to cover seems to be it's different. It's a different measurement from last time, isn't it? Because last time it was 3 5/8. That's the 3, that's the halfway mark. It's probably three 2/8 probably would have covered it. So 3/8 of an inch is almost half an inch, which is from the 1 to the halfway mark, which is there to there. That's half an inch. That's how much reduction. I might have to chop off that thing. And I wouldn't do it from the front, I would do it from the back. Which is probably good because that's probably how deep this little flap is back here. But I don't know why there's such a massive discrepancy in how I measured my forehead yesterday compared to today. I have a theory about this, which is why my stencils never fit or work or anything. I'm pretty sure that throughout the day my forehead shrinks, my entire head shrinks and expands, depends on the heat, maybe my mood. Like if I had a hat that was really loose at the start of the day, it would be very tight by the end. My brain just swells. So that could be to do with the throbbing genius within my skull, trying to get out, unleash itself and take over the universe. Like you've got a strong skull, for your sake. Otherwise, that'd be havoc. Anyway, I'm not going to stand here for 40 minutes and rattle off absolute truths that are beyond your scope of understanding. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to hang out, try not to press my head against the back of the sofa. I had these glasses made that are, I can't see it because I've got long vision and short vision, and it's just getting worse and worse, and my field of focus is narrower and narrower. Too much screen time, I think. Not enough going outside and looking around the world, I guess. So I have multifocals which blend the top to the bottom in a gradual way, but everything's distorted and warped just because the way lens technology works at this point in history. So when I'm driving, I have very bad peripheral vision. Even crossing the street with those multifocals, I have problems. So I ordered these ones specific. They're unusual. The top part is long distance, so I can read signs and watch television, anything beyond 3 meters. And these are intermediate focus, just this little segment down here. So these are bifocals. If I read a phone at this distance, while tilting my head up, I can read it clearly. But anything closer than that, my close vision, or near vision, I think they call it, it's not strong enough for that. So I drive with these now. And even though it feels like I'm partially underwater because there's this line of different focus just below, I can sort of, when I'm looking slightly down, I can see my dashboard on my car, my map and everything and speed I'm doing and stuff. So it's pretty good for driving. And I tend to use them while I'm walking across the street, just in general now, because I really don't like the multifocals. And I've got a few days left where I could try to swap these and the other ones because they were over $1,000 each. Different eyes, astigmatism correction, glare reduction, transition lenses. They're fucking expensive. I mean, they could have been like $800, I don't know, but they're fucking expensive. So potentially I can say I want to take these ones back or whatever. These don't look as good as the other ones, which are frameless. I mean, it's not perfectly, set up right now for me to show you how I can look my best when I've got a hairstyle like this, but you can see them on my face. These are the transition lenses, frameless, completely different look. These have a bigger span, which is nicer for me to look out through. And also these come in so close to my eyelashes that I'm constantly fluttering my eyelashes and making them dirty. So you're out of focus now you're in focus. So I've got to constantly be tilting my head around like this all the fucking time, but at least it's a smooth sort of transition. But because of the peripheral distortion, these are nicer, an experience to be wearing. And these probably look better. Alexa, stop. Got to wash the dye off. Not sure what I'm going to do here with this, getting $800, maybe $1,000 back, if I could potentially forge them together. I don't like them all the time. They annoy me sometimes, just having that constant line there. But in most cases, I'm choosing these over these. Would I take this bifocal stuff and put it into this design? It's not completely good looking pair of glasses, but I think it's better looking than this. And you can imagine what I look like with hair, right? While I'm wearing them. These definitely look better for sure. These ones look nerdy. They look good when they're sunglasses because they're almost the shape of aviators. because they do go almost dark enough so that you can't even see my eyes when I'm out in the sun, which I rarely am. And these have already got a little crack in the corner there because they've got no frame. I'm careful with them, but and even though you'd think it must be easier to clean because you can get right to the edge, these little bits in here make them harder to clean than these. And I'm cleaning 300 times a day, just constantly spraying, cleaning, it just never stops. I should probably take a break from screens as well. I don't know if the greys are all completely gone, but it should be reduced. I'm gonna have a shower. I always have at least 30 things in my mind loaded like pinballs, ready to say. So excuse me for being all over the place with this. My glasses are gonna fog up to distract me and give me another thing to say. I just folded all my clothes after washing them and drying them, and something really weird happened. There were no missing socks. All the socks were there. I reckon maybe this time 2 of the same socks for the first time in history went missing in the same wash, because there can't have been 0 socks going missing. So it has to be 2. I don't know which 2. My favorite pairs were there, the ones that stretch nicely. In fact, I'm thinking about going and buying all new socks. The one thing I like about my underpants and my t-shirts pretty much is they're all the same, but they're not really pairs, so it doesn't matter. So I fold them all up neatly and put them away. But the socks, if they're odd and different, I've got to go and fucking choose, got to play memory basically. Just try and find the pair. Don't like it. Maybe the washing machine or dryer is trying to help me get rid of my socks, so I have to go and buy new ones. Anyway, that's not one of the 30 things I wanted to say. I procrastinate a lot. I don't get a lot done, waste a lot of time, sit and play Northgard on the toilet for a long time. But something that might have helped me over the last 3 days, it's been the last 3 nights. Maybe it's just 2 nights. I was really hungover during one of them. Anyway, I've slept in my actual bed rather than the moldy mattress I splump on the floor. And usually I've got a projector above me and a television set and an iPad and a phone and all sorts of screens with the VR goggles, and I'm just screens, right? And I don't wonder if those fucking glasses. But my dad's eyesight, he used to wear glasses, has become good as he's gotten older for some reason. I don't understand about the hardening of the lens and the weakening of the surrounding muscles that pull the lens, but apparently your eyesight can become better after time. And yeah, I think the weakness of the muscles around my lens would have a lot to do with what's happening with me. Even though I have presbyopia, I think it's called, which is when you are long-sighted more than short-sighted, I think. And it happens naturally as your lens hardens as you get over the age of 40, which is when we're supposed to die, but I'm 47, nearly 48. So I'm pretty close, or I'm beyond what that's why I'm graying. What parts of my body are like experiencing necrosis, right? I've got necrosis of the hair, basically. I don't know if osis is correct, probably some suffix that has something to do with inflammation or hardening of some sort, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna call my hair necrophied. It's probably all incorrect. Anyway, let's look at this. I'm gonna have to make this smaller. But at the moment I'm really sweating and it's quite red around here. I don't know why. I'm just hot in general. Not right now, but I mean, not like these glasses. Now I'm hot. No. Also, I'm gonna get rid of the length on this. The density, the length. There's no other word. We don't have another word. That's length. And if I cut it shorter, it would be shorter length. And if I cut the hair's length shorter, that'd be shorter in length too. Like I said, English is fucked. Or I'm fucked because I don't know the words. So I cut off basically a sliver. This is the original size here, and this is how small it's become. But I know it's too big. I don't feel like I can work in these conditions because the floor's still wet from the shower and the room's full of moisture still. And I'm sweating heaps, very uncomfortably. All right, I can really feel a lot of overhang back here, and I feel like that is probably the correct positioning for the front hairline. Now that the hair is dry, you can more clearly see the blondness. Trying to aim these corners is going to be tricky, as always. But usually there's a little bit of give, but it's always wonky, so I really have to figure out a keying system, maybe. I really don't want to have to shave out some artificial area back here to accommodate the roundness, to avoid the... See, if it was rounded, an oval can sort of be slotted in a bit inaccurately. Sure, your hairline's going to be on a bit of an angle maybe. It's very hard to get exact positioning in that regard. Unless you do the tan marking method, by which you basically take an old hairpiece that you don't care about, you put it in position, you take the fake spray tan and you spray all along the front with a hairbrush back, and after about 4 hours, hopefully you didn't do the rest of your face, just around there sort of gradual a bit, then there'll be a line that will last. It's not just for single use, it should last until your next one. And as you need it, you can sort of touch it up. Probably not a good idea if you're going to change stencil sizes like I'm about to do. Like if I went from this size and then reduced the size of the stencil, so it went from there to there, there'd be untanned, very white looking skin up against dark brown. Not dark, I'm not going to go that dark, but you'd see the line there and it'd be no good. So once you've established what your hairline's going to be, and even after 15 years, I'm still deciding today to make a new hairline. I definitely want another stencil. So even if I don't decide to keep that going all the way across, the thing is, you might think, oh, I could just stick this to my head now as is, and then start just dyeing it and see what happens, and then cut the hair, and then I'll have better perspective without all these long hairs everywhere. I feel like it's going to be too hard to deal with. I pretty much need to chop off that extra 3/8 of an inch along the back there. Should I just risk it and go by where that break mark is and just cut sideways from there? I just don't want it to be too small after all this, because I have an opportunity for it to fit if I do it correctly. It's just really hard. Measuring this once more. Also, the other thing to consider is, I feel like sometimes this side is higher than this side. So my shape, I'm always going to have a gap of just exposed glue back here, because this side has receded worse than this side has. And so I should be shaving out some more of this so that it can be symmetrical, because I'm trying to make these symmetrical. Well, although I could say, well, that's the key I've been looking for, because then I could angle everything up there to the left and make it bulbous there. But it's always too hard to feel or tell when it's in the right exact spot anyway. And I'm never going to be able to shave it exactly in a nice way. Okay, so that's unrealistic. I need plus minus a few millimeters every time. Let's measure this again. You know what, I'll do it the other way around, because from here I can more clearly establish where the front hairline's going to be. I reckon there. So we're checking. Is that right? 3.5 this time. At one point it was 3.2, another time it was 3.6. It's not 0.6. Fuck. Fucking assholes with your stupid inches. The fractions of it, 8. Dumb fucks. Alright, I'll try to cope with you. Maybe after I've got some air conditioning on me. It's middle of winter, but in this room it's fucking humid and hot. And I never trust what that says. 22.8 and 59. I reckon it's more like 40 degrees in this room and 1000% humidity. More realistic. I have to trim off something, don't I? To be honest, I reckon if I trust that that breaker mark is the point, that I'll potentially just draw a line sideways from there and go across. I can't see shit, my glasses have all fogged up. I cut off these extra bits. So I've lessened it somewhat. And now in the light I can sort of see the doll's hairlines more clearly. So they are still somewhat visible. And so now it's a little bit smaller, but very happy to say that the Auschwitz tag was cut off. And that's the back, and that's the front. And this is the shape now. Does that look uniform? I'm just gonna wipe the marker off the edge. There's something else I've got to do today that I forgot to do, and I might as well show you what I'm doing because it does have to do with vanity. Alright, on the edge here, it looks like I've got a little problem. I've gone in with a little swoop there, whereas this one is robustly, like the angle of curvature is different here compared to here. But I don't know, it could be too hard to do. This side is like this, and this side's like this. I can never get it perfect. I'll try it on and see what happens. It's hard to tell what the fuck's going on. You can't see anything. Does it make the distance at least? Probably about right in terms of length. Hopefully the arches here are close to being correct. Probably some overhang there on the edges. And hopefully it's wide enough at the front hairline to make it all the way across. So I'm just going to shed this because I just cut it, right? So there's just edge hairs that were casualties in the cropping process. So what do? Just stick this to my head and then dye it once it's on my head? I think so. But maybe if it is about the right, no, I mean I've got to correct that. That's a very different bow of a shape. Look at that one compared to that one. Needs correction. Because I want to make a stencil out of this, but only if it's perfect, otherwise no point. But I think if I did cut that shorter there, like I was going to crop out some of that, I don't know if it would still make it all the way across that span. Because you can see how that's really wide for a front hairline. I'll just put it on as it is. There'll be little problems around the edges with some overhang and whatever. Maybe I should just use weak glue. Usually what I do is put a full layer of Ghost Bond. We should keep this turned upside down, but it doesn't really seem to move further down, and it's running out. But I just did order 5 ounces, but it's just taken a really long time to be delivered from Amazon. I'm gonna go ahead, wet this, dry that side of it, brush the other side, paste this all over that, paste it onto here. I'm not really gonna worry about shaving that stubble at the moment. I want this to come off probably. Maybe not though, because then I'd have to clean it but it's not going to be precise, and therefore I don't want to use tape to make adjustments. See, once I put it on, I just want to leave it on for a couple of weeks, which means this has to be accurate, but I don't know how to do that. I'd say this is getting into the face zone now where this triangle's going to land. And if it lands anywhere around there and not right up against the hair, it's going to look wrong. Round. So let me see if I can stretch that across. Yeah, it should be enough. Should be enough. And I think that length is mostly pretty good. It's just these bits here, that's not rounded enough there. That's going to be a lot of overhang. But I'm gonna live with that. There's no practical way to really cut that out while it's on your head. If I was a hairdresser and I had somebody else's head in front of me, I reckon I could do it. Better not to, because you could go too short. You could go too short. See, there must be more words than short. Anyway, that's the only word I know. I will wet this. We'll do it now. Take it off, dry it with a towel. Brush the hairs in the direction going away from the hairline, I think. Yeah, I'll prioritize the hairline, because I'm gonna try for a brush back look today. This might as well, given the immensity of what I'm doing here. Gonna dry this and brush it. Away from the hairline. Okay, I just started watching The Sandman, so I'm going to go paste glue onto here while I watch that. Then that'll dry, and I'll probably put some glue onto here as well. Might as well do that now. I'm worried that this is going to run out, by the way. I mean, for this one job, which is not good. I really need that delivery from Amazon with a 5-ounce bottle. I'm still sweating too much. I'll start with this. Yeah, this really is running out. I managed to fully paste this from tip to tip. There's always puddles on this sink. Don't ever buy a sink that isn't bowled in from every direction. I've got one that just goes like that and it's flat on both sides, so everything just fails to fall through. And I've constantly got to clean the sink. The water won't do it itself. I've got to get my hand in there and force everything down to the middle. It's not good. I thought it was a cool design. I thought, why would they make it if it doesn't work? It doesn't seem like it should properly work. I thought maybe there was some tilt that was so slight that I couldn't notice it, but there isn't one, and it doesn't work because you can see things in your mind that they won't work before you buy it. Hopefully there's enough glue in here to do at least my head for this one hairpiece. And in the meantime, I'll store this upside down, but unfortunately they made the lid in such a way that you can't probably balance it very easily. I'll have to lean it on something. It's this, unless I put Ultra Hold up along the top edge, and I know there's going to be overhang around here and here at least, the whole thing's going to be flapping. The only way to make it sort of at least half stick to these hairs up here is to put Ultra Hold there. In the meantime, I'll just keep it, I guess I'll have to keep it brushed back, which I'm meeting with a bunch of people in a couple of days, so it's not good timing to not have a proper stencil. See if I can get more out of here. Okay, good. Right, so if you do that a few times, I guess, and keep store it upside down, you'll be able to get the rest down, I think. I'll maybe scratch those chunks out after it dries. I just use the hairdryer to try to dry the remaining glue on here. As you can see, it's not symmetrical. Look at that big jumbo curve there and this little slight one here. Hopefully it still fits. Okay, I'm going to start proceedings by spraying alcohol up around the perimeter. Trying to comb out any chunks of glue that is stuck in there, like this big one here. Gonna have to refill my baby wipes. And now this is a bit dried out, so it might get in my face when I'm working, so I'll spin it around, trying to get any water on the glue itself, and just see if I can wet those hairs a bit. Keep it completely out of my face when I put it on. Hopefully I'm still going to be able to center this. Make sure that none of the hairs that are blown in with the hairdryer are sticking on the wrong side. Massive relief to not have to deal with lace anymore. Okay, alcohol. Wish my eyes fucking worked. Just remember, this is all very new. This hairline, for me, that's gone way over, although maybe I'm not sure exactly where it needs to land. I need markings on the hairpiece itself that I could potentially wash off. Maybe I could have drawn the center line with something that I would be able to wipe off. That would probably be a good idea. Then I'd get the center right. That's probably all I would need for positioning, for alignment. I'll have to work on that in the future. This one, it's going to be some overhang, but it looks like it needed to get to that point, as you can see, and then come in at a more acute angle there on this side. Is it going to make it to the edge? Seems close. Checking for folds. Water. I might actually resort back to this. Given this spray lid works on this clean bottle, I might rip this label off and put water in here instead, because This really squirts hardly any water, and you can't adjust the nozzle. This has an adjustable nozzle. It takes 10 times as many squirts to get the same amount of water. Well, there are no visible gaps. Probably more overhang than gaps when I look at it. But first I need to let the front dry so I can manipulate it nicely. That feels way too low. Is my hairline straight or on an angle? So far that hairline looks way too low compared to what I'm used to. It might piss me off to have all of this covered. It seemed weirdly low. Worth a try though. Wait until it's all on and have a brush back look. Then I can snip away bits, I guess. Because I can cut from the front hairline, but I just can't cut from back here. I probably could using my, mirror cam system. Increase visibility, but getting in there and doing it accurately is, no matter what I do, it's still going to be very hard. I'd rather not. So colour number 18, the blonde, dark blonde ash that I'm wearing, looks like it should blend fairly nicely when I dye it into my brown. And I took out these old samples here to show you the previous way I tried to dye hair pieces. I made these with the intention of dyeing colour number 22, which is not here. It's here. That's colour number 22. Still written on the Auschwitz tag, as if that wouldn't show up. I don't know why the company's doing that, printing the Auschwitz tag on so heavily. That would totally show up on a blonde person's scalp like a tattoo. Ridiculous. And that's color 18. Side by side, they don't even look like they're both blonde. That looks brown by comparison. That is 22 blonde, light blonde, and that's 18 dark blonde ash. So what I would do in the old days is try to stick all the hairs through these teeth, right? And then reach underneath and dye from underneath and try to avoid getting any dye on the base. That was my wily scheme. Much more difficult than I imagined. You can go back and watch those old videos if you feel like it. Anyway, it was not effective. Then more recently, in the past 2 months, I think it was, I made a video where I just dyed a colour number 22 hairpiece while it was on my head. It looked utterly ridiculous. And even though the doll's hairlines were absolutely invisible, by the way, I just noticed how bad these squished ants are on this lace piece. It's shocking, isn't it? What we're going to do today is try to fully remove them from the equation. If this works for poly, it will definitely work for lace as well. So you can copy my idea next time you buy one if this all works out properly. It seems I've got a lot of hope in this method. But just always buy hair pieces that are colour number 18. I'd be interested to see if everybody's sales go up after this video in blonde colour 18. Because if I can dye that, not only should it work on poly, getting rid of the doll's hairlines, it should also work on lace, given that even if you do bleach, you can bleach the underside of lace, but the knots never quite dye or bleach as nicely as you want. So if you wanted to try to bleach that to get rid of them, it will still result in squished hairs. Unless you bleach it for so many hours that the hair just falls up to pieces. But I think color number 18 is probably the answer, or close to it. So it should remove all traces of doll's hairlines, not all traces, most traces. And also squished ants in the case of lace. As far as this hairline, which is a separate matter completely, is concerned, it takes ages. This glue takes ages to dry after it's had alcohol on it. So it will eventually evaporate, but it will never evaporate in this room. This fucking weird anomaly of the universe, this room. You can see what I tried to achieve to get rid of all that boof when I straightened my hair, but nothing was achieved. I just wanted to keep the hair long so it was brushable rather than spiky like a baby hawk. And the straightening iron had no effect. I did have a shower. If water is a problem for after using a straightening iron, then I don't want to ever have to worry about using a straightening iron again. It's too dangerous. I fucking hate using it. And even so, I still wouldn't want to risk cancer from using that do-it-yourself at-home hair relaxant stuff. And every time I try different methods, I always end up cutting this short. And I want to keep it long, but just controllably brushable. At the moment, I feel like that is way too low. That shouldn't be coming down like that. That's like that guy suggested to make a concave hairline. It's not concave when you look at the hairpiece itself. In fact, that's still the original shape right there of the front hairline. That's what I got on my head. But once you put it on your head, and because this is like geodesic lines, I'm curving around the shape of the head, and a round thing like that sort of ends up this shape. So that those areas just above the temple are filled in as well, which is so far, at least before I give myself a haircut, way too much hair on my head. It just looks silly. Having such a low forehead. Also feels like it's already going to start pissing me off being there. But it could be something I get used to, and I just haven't accustomed myself to it yet. Also, this is dry and this is wet, so you know the buffiness problem is exaggerated, obviously, if that's dry and that's wet. I'm going to fill this up with water. The Sandman is really good, by the way. Episode 1 was good. It's along the lines of the story I'm writing at the moment. Very similar. Talking about gods and angels and stuff. Over eons. I reckon that's going to seal. Nice. I need some C22 to get all the glue residue off the outside of this bottle. Don't buy this size C22, by the way. It's impractical. And the squirt head that came with it, which I've thrown out, is shit. Stick with these little ones, which I kind of need to use right now. You see how that's got a nice dispersion from the spray pump, which often breaks and gets stuck as well, by the way, but it's Walker Tech Company, so all their packaging is always breaking and the brush is never long enough to reach the bottom properly, etc. I'm going to clean all this off and go in the other room, wait for this to evaporatively dry, and maybe cue it to my head a little bit. Then I'll come back, give myself a haircut, and then dye my hair. Cleaned it, new water bottle. that's definitely putting out more. Bit of a different look being blonde like this. Still disheveled, but there's something that lightens the face. I just saw some ad for, it wasn't an ad, it was an article that John Travolta had just surprised some people by turning up as Danny Zuko from Greece at some Greece mega mix party or whatever it was. And you know, we all know that John Travolta is bald. He wore a hairpiece for a long time. I think he went away from that. But for dressing up as Danny Zuko, he gave himself a perfect hairstyle. I don't know if he did it. He's got millions of dollars. I'm sure he's got people who do his hair and makeup for him. I'm not sure if he lives like that, but I'm pretty sure he has a plane, like a full commercial jet. So I wouldn't be surprised. And he might even have an airport, I don't know. It's amazing how much money you can make from being in a couple of movies. It's ridiculous. Didn't cure cancer, he's just an actor. Boom. Good dancer, good singer. Probably will be remembered for a long time. Okay, so he gets an airport. Not named after him, in his backyard. So, let's have a look at this. I think he's got his own pilots who are on standby at all times. As well as the fact he's a pilot. He flies for Qantas. Like he's a commercial pilot. He has like proper passengers. I might have even been on a flight when he was the pilot. Don't know. I don't know if they'd announced that. Hello, this is your captain speaking. Hey Sandy, this is your captain speaking. I can't do him. Anyway, so, has this stuck down? I don't feel as sweaty as I did before. Still, as always, I'd rather be sitting down. This is quite heavy, because the plastic's so solid. But I guess it's because this one's got less water in it, maybe. But, you know, pretty good. I can maybe open it up a bit. Oh, too much. Not too much. Maybe this isn't as watery as I suspected. I thought this would be more watery. It's hard to squeeze that. Let's go back to this old one for a second. Nice little hole. Yeah, maybe I was delusional. What was your first clue? Okay, well, before I fuck it up with my dye job that I'm about to do, let's examine with the good camera. I mean, not throw away all my good cameras, sold them. What the front hairline looks like. Is this the kind of amazing hair coming out of the skin look that I've been aiming for all these years? Finally, after so many years of suffering through squished ants and doll's hairlines, is this finally going to be the solution I was looking for? At the moment, it kind of looks like brown. Even though it's blonde, that bit didn't stick down properly. You gotta remember, I put 2 layers all the way up here, and then here is only just 1 layer. And I will be removing the length of this somewhat, maybe, probably. I don't really want to brush that over my ears like I did when I was a kid in the 80s. I might just go ahead and do that now with a 7mm guard. Which side do you prefer? Can you tell the difference? I like having a little bit of mess there. I hate the fucking arches. I hate the fake look, like, you know, men who pluck their eyebrows and stuff, it just looks so weird. I guess it would look weird if women did it too, but I'm so used to that it seems normal. Now it sort of kind of looks a bit weird when they don't. I'm just so used to it. Same with hairy armpits. Not that I care. It's all about neatness. But I don't want, I mean, it's not all about neatness, it's about natural looking neatness. But although eyebrows that are plucked never look really quite natural, I suppose. But I'm just used to having female faces being made up. I would say most women over, who are adults, wear makeup all the time. It's like I wear a hairpiece all the time. So is that better? Now that I've gotten rid of that, I can't see shit. Now, for the guy who kept on saying I needed to put a concave hairline, this is about as close to concave as I'm ever gonna go. This goes all the way across. And by the way, more people have said nobody has a straight line across their for a hairline at my age. And they were talking about the age I was, 34, nearly 48. So yeah, let's say 15 years ago, that was 33. So when I was 33, nobody has a straight hair line, they said. I know people do. People have all sorts of hairlines. It's not sticking at all, is it? Mega lifting. So far, I haven't really tested out how much overhang or problems there are back here at the perimeter. There are no chunks because there's no ultra hold. So it's just nice to feel, to touch. But it's weak glue. Not penetrative, not chunky. I think I'll start by changing my glasses so I can see what the fuck's happening, because multifocals can eat my hairy beanbag. And then I will cut my hair and then dye it after it's cut. I can't leave it this color. This is my last hairpiece. Color looks the same when it's wet. But I can tell you it's very different. Think about the scale. 1 is jet black, 22 is light blonde, and this is color number 18. So we're going all the way up towards 22. 18 is quite close to that end. 4, which is this color pretty much, definitely this color, is close to black. And yet, look how similar they are. This is why I say to people who are thinking about, oh, I've got to go and get the color matching correct and stuff. Yeah, it's better if it looks exact, but when it blends in around this area, so long as it blends in at the back as well. And the thing is, I think I often cheat by having a wet look hair product in the hair, so you can see what water does. It changes the color to make it much darker. I don't know, magic. Then again, the ocean is blue. Don't know how the fuck that happened. I think it's the way the nitrogen in the atmosphere refracts the light from the sun. The sky certainly isn't blue during the nighttime. And then when we see the yellow sun in the sky, even though the sun is white. Okay, or as the South Africans would say, wat. They really like to eat those hard T's. Wat. Yo. Okay, I'm gonna cut this like a fucking hairdresser. Brush it all forward to start with. You can see the color difference now though. You can see the darker brown compared to the blonde there. And we'll examine a little bit of that. How much overhang there is. Quite a lot. Top center seems to be on par. It's just this area here. And hopefully it's the same on this side, although it's not. This side kind of fits well, which means I probably wonked the entire hairpiece over that way, which is something I always get wrong because placement is hard. It's not like I have proper visibility with all those hairs in the way. Maybe one day I'll master the art of placement. And I can tell you right now, it all begins with having exactly the right hair size for the shave zone that you got. And I use shave zone, as I've said before, because your bald area doesn't work. Don't forget, I had to shave out an area where I wasn't bald. So bald area doesn't cover it. Doesn't cover the phrase. Bald area doesn't cover anything except your skull. Okay, I'm gonna cut this by going across in layers. And after the first snip, didn't break my scissors on the floor from dropping them earlier, I'll fast forward all this through for you. So, with the potential for brushing the hair back from the front hairline, this hairstyle is 4 inches. So a 4-inch haircut, I would say. Not 4 inches here, it's 2 inches everywhere else, right? Ending in 4 at the front, which is long, but it gives me wiggle room for a brush back look. Okay, I've got very little hold with this glue on the front hairline, especially on the left-hand side. You can see the hair's bumping into the boof, and it won't flatten down the rest of the way. So I will, seeing the way that smoothly goes over that area, potentially this hairline can be good. Still gonna have those corners, those triangles, always resting like that. And there's no adhesion at the front left there. So if I could be bothered learning how to straighten my hair properly, I would get rid of the boof around here without having to cut it, and then I could achieve a nice, neat hairstyle for the first time in my life, which I know is dependent on having long hair at the front. And that means I need at least 2-inch hairs the rest of the way. But because it's boofy and starts curling at about, I don't know, 1/2 inch, it's so boofy that I can never pull off a neat, straight-haired hairstyle like this. Potentially I could with a hairdryer though, and that doesn't seem as burny as that awful hair straightening iron. 4 inches seems like the logical choice for the front hairs. Get this neat. And 2 inches around the rest of the head seems about right for the rest. So long as they're not boofy. I never know what happens here at this point where the hair's supposed to change direction. I've got a bald spot here as well, which looks better or worse depending on the lighting conditions. And I don't really like that sticking out to the sides there, and I feel like that could be flattened with chemicals. And maybe I would consider, I don't know, it's just so fucking expensive, getting it chemically straightened with proper keratin treatment and stuff. Like I said, it's between $350 and $800 for one session. And I'd want something in writing at that stage. If you're paying that much money, if you go away and it's not straight and you come back, they'd better shove whoever is sitting in that fucking chair out of the fucking way and fix it now when you get back there. Also, it takes about 3 hours to do it, I think. I do think though here on this side, I don't know, this side as well, maybe as well. It's too low. Is that side higher though? Yeah, I think this side must be higher. Is it? Maybe I do need to cut off a bit on that side, maybe. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't even look like it's following a nice trajectory. It looks like it's going boom, boom. Is that where I parted it? What if I part it further down? Does it still happen? Pretty much. That should just sort of continue that way, I think, and give me a bit more forehead. The problem is, the more I butcher this hairpiece, the worse the stencil's going to be, which I wanted to model everything from. So I've got two choices here. Just add glue to all of that and stick it down nicely, or try to chop this area, give myself some more forehead over here. How much forehead have I got over here? How would you even measure that? The distances to compare. You just have to do it by sight. I mean, when I do sideburns, I can look at the tragus and go, boom, all right, is it in alignment or lower or higher? So they're generally more or less the same. I don't mess those up too badly. And then when it comes to the hairline, I never quite know how to get it correct on both sides. I also wonder if that was not brushed in a certain way, would that be showing to everybody, because it's sort of part of my face there. All right, so let's try and get a comparison in altitude here. Is this higher than this? I would say it is, and therefore I do have to chop off a little bit of this. Don't worry, I will do that close up, I promised you, to look at the roots before we dye it. When you get cheap baby wipes, they're not popping up and waiting for you to grab one. The more expensive ones seem to be folded better. All right, let's have a look at this. I'll try to be as slight as possible because I always have to cut off. I need to account for the excess that I always ruin. I'm definitely not taking this whole thing off my head to do this. I'm starting to sweat a lot now. Come in low, 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 low. Really need all those hairs facing that way. I want to be perpendicular. It's very hard when you haven't got the ability to see and focus. It's hard holding my arms up in the air for a long period of time because I'm unfit and weak. Like a little girly man. So much took off that time. And as expected, there's exposed base left behind. I don't know what the best way to chop hair pieces is without resulting in that happening. That was just exposed base with no hairs in it at all. I'll just come down and feel for any more exposed base. Feels like it's slipped out from the blades. So much overhang back here. Look how white it is as well. I really want to try to cut it out. But you just saw what happened, how hard it is to cut. My forehead feels like a more reasonable altitude now. Except for that little bit there, which could afford to be chopped. If I can get it without fucking it. Everything's easier in a t-shirt, I think. Fuck. Yeah, this flap here, I really want to get rid of it. And look, the glue's detached from it already because it's such shitty, weak glue. And if I keep chopping more, it'll just go up and up, but I feel like that kind of needs to, doesn't it? It's hard to tell with that fucking glue in the way. Such weak glue. This is Ghost Bond Platinum, the strongest of the water-based glues. Designed to withstand oily skin apparently, but I can tell you right now it doesn't. But it's thin, which means it doesn't bulge underneath your hairpiece, but it's weak as fuck. Okay, even though you saw me cut pretty much in a straight line, it's resulted in a ziggy, and I can't see what I'm doing. These glasses are not doing it for me. I need somebody else to do that, it's too hard. Or I need to take it off my head and do it on the ground. That's way too much exposed base. Look at it. It's way too much overhang, sorry. Yeah, I mean, it's too dangerous to try to do this while it's on my head. Should I just take it off? But then, can I position it correctly the second time? And can I be bothered getting all the glue off my head and off this hairpiece and all the other shit? Let's compare the left and right temple altitudes. I need to tattoo my face with markers, but then I need the hairpiece to be cut exact. I don't think it would hurt to make that. There. Except the fact that I can't get to it. How do I mark this so that I know what I'm doing? You saw how badly it worked last time when I tried to mark the underside of the hairpiece with my marker. It's my only real option. Don't forget all the other types of marker I've bought over the years to experiment for you. This is the best one. Chop that. Not all off though, bring it to the side. There. I guess. I can't trust the mark I just made, that's for sure. And then I guess I'll try to bend it in a position where I'm marking maybe in a good spot. I don't know, it's fucking impossible from... This glue is pretty shit. So I'm going to take it off. By the way, just before I do, I'll show you a close-up of the hairline, just in case I forget later on, okay? But just remember, it's not glued down properly. There you go. And I'll flip the camera for you. Okay, close up. How's that? How are these dolls' hairlines? I reckon they're going to be pretty good. They're going to be good, I think. It's hard for me to tell because I'm looking up through the gap in my glasses where I have no focus. Anyway, I'm going to take this off my head now. I'm just starting to drip with sweat. It's the absolute middle of winter. Oh shit, I ran out of that fucking glue. I don't have an option to stick it back down with that glue anymore. I'm going to have to use Ultra Hold when I stick this back down. And this is the chunk I just tried to cut out while it was on my head. There. I think it's probably easy to get this glue off while it's kind of not. But I can't fuck up this black line here. I need to leave this room, so I'll see you later. I'll sort all this out. You just sit there and fucking wake off, okay? I've still kept it wide. That's the original hairpiece template. Hopefully it's still wide enough to go all the way across. I don't know how much I just chopped off. Might not make it all the way anymore. It should be deeper and wider than this stencil. I wish the hairs were wet. It would be easier to flatten this thing. I tried to round that as well to alleviate all the mess over here that I'd sort of made. Don't know how well it's going to work. What I really want to do now though is mark the middle. I'm assuming this is the middle on this stencil, so if I put that there and then line that up and take this marker. This is the first time I've even invented this method. I'm sorry if you haven't got good lighting, but you're just gonna have to take the bad footage as good information. Hopefully that will wipe off the hairs at the front center. If it doesn't, I'm fucked. Just gonna wipe off the texture on this side. Okay, I've got to say, trying to peel the glue off this thing is just stupidly hard. So I don't want to go insane. I'd rather just leave the glue on. That's the best I could cut it. And I'm going to wipe off the texture off the outside edges. Alright, so I've cut this thing as best as I possibly can. I'm exhausted from the attempts of it. Didn't bring the marker in. The reason I mentioned that is because I was going to do something with the marker just now, and I can't be bothered leaving and coming back, because every time I do that I've got to add to editing. In the meantime, my mum is doing my head in. Anyway, that's the way I've cut it. I can't show it to you any more clearly than that in midair. And if I did try to set up a tripod, I'd have to go and set up a fucking tripod, okay? I balanced something on the edge of the table for you earlier. Anyway, that's what it fucking looks like, okay? There you go. Boom. That's what it looks like. Now, placement of hair pieces. It's been hard since the beginning. I can try, but I have zero visibility where I'm placing it, which might seem fine there because I'm covering over everything, but if I pull it back, you'll see I'm about an inch too low, right? I have to go by feel, and then it's never quite right. The side edges here, especially the corners. If you don't wear a frontal, you probably can't relate at all to what I'm saying, okay? These corners, I did wear a full topper for quite a while, all the way around the back, are vastly easier to place than frontals because of these corners. These corners, if they don't land accurately, you've got a little angle there, or you've got a little angle there, or an angle there, it doesn't look right. It's got to be exact. There's so much trouble that comes with these little triangle corners. I don't know how you're going to call them, but I call them triangles, right? Because that's a triangle. Placing them exactly is impossible to do by just feeling where it should land. I always start with my thumbs on the temples, and then I try to place it where I think it should be, approximately. And in the old days, I just sort of trusted that I made the right size hairpiece for my shave zone, and I started from the perimeter and let it land downwards. Doing that way was the best way for me to get line up. Because if I start at the front hairline and go back and let there be overhang or gaps or whatever else has to happen with priority for the hairline, which is the opposite way to do it, obviously, then I never know what's going to happen. In this situation right now, I'm sort of just starting in the corner with the triangle 1. Hopefully that's in the right spot. Trying to move that around to the spot. This can only happen, of course, either while you've got alcohol spray all over a glued hairpiece, or you've got no glue at all, like in the current situation. Even now, the triangles are there and there, but are they on that angle, or are they straight, or are they on that angle? And when I brush it back and try to give myself some visibility, it's like the double slit experiment, observation fucks it up. I ended up wiping most of that extra glue off using C22 and a lot of glue strength. I never want to have to take care of the hairpiece again. I'd rather throw it away. Which is a waste of money. It's just something I've got to deal with. Get the fucking glue off this shit. And even though I might get it perfect right now, I'm not actually placing it right now because there's no glue. I'm just testing it. Why? Because I was hoping, and this will not work, this idea that I'm about to tell you will not work while it's wet, is to simply get a texter and just draw a line from up there to down there, right? And I could even go there and there, but that cannot work while anything's wet. Do you understand why? Good. Also, if I landed on some of the ink and then started swiveling it around, it would have ink stuck underneath then. But you saw how easily this wipes off, this temporary marker. So you'd want something like invisible ink, something that just disappears after a while. Something that stays on skin. I don't have any. And I still, even with my hair brushed back and now I'm getting hot and sweaty and annoyed again, I still can't tell if it's even on both sides, and these fucking glasses are not helping me at all. I mean, it seems scented while wet, but I can't tell really. And I can't even, now that I've done that, I can't see the perimeter. Is there a way for me to fold all this hair on top of itself and sort of like clip it or something so that it all stays out of the way without the whole hairpiece bending and folding into a thing? I don't think so. Anything you suggest is theoretical, and I bet you haven't achieved it. You might say, oh yeah, I do it all the time. Go on then, show us. Go on to the Discord channel and paste pictures of how you did it. There's no visibility when you're placing a fucking hairpiece, right? I feel like sometimes are worse than others, and I can tell you right now, when you lose your eyesight, everything's a million times harder. It was really hard getting that glue off here, by the way. It was balling up, little balls all through my hair, all through my clothes, everything. But it's nearly run out. But I've ordered another 5 ounces of it. Whatever the fuck an ounce is. Who the fuck talks about ounces? Anyway, I didn't shave this area at that time because my head was too distressed from the vicious rubbing, and I thought it was unsafe to shave at that point in time. But the reason I will shave this time is to prevent what happened last time, which was that all the glue stuck more in the stubble. And I don't want that to happen again. But right now I feel like my head actually does have residual glue all over it, even though I spent ages cleaning it earlier. Like, that's gripping a lot. But I'll shave it. And as far as this is concerned, I'm going to pre-glue this with Ultra Hold. I'm not going to explain to you what Ultra Hold is anymore. It's the problem, right? 400 and something videos. When somebody watches one of my videos, it's okay for me to expect that they need to have seen some previous videos to catch up to where we're up to. Because there's just too much information to say again and again and again in each video, right? You've just got to assume that these people are smart enough to click on your fucking name or research some other shit to find previous videos, prerequisite information they need. Anyway, this video will hopefully be groundbreaking. In fact, I assume that this video that I'm making now will be the most groundbreaking video I've ever made on this channel. Because I'll be solving, in the short term, what you can do to completely make your roots invisible, or close enough to invisible, while still compromising. Just while we wait for the hair companies to bleach the roots. But until they do that, I'm pretty confident that it might be possible to trick the hair companies. You hearing me? This is probably the most important part of this video so far, so listen, open your fucking ears. it might be possible to order a color 18 hairpiece and say, I want you to dye that to my hair color on top. Now, I don't know about all hair colors, but brown, medium dark brown, probably dark brown. Don't know about black. With people who wear black hair pieces, especially if you've got white skin, you're fucked. Like, I don't know how you've been dealing with hair pieces all this time. You have the worst possible situation. White skin, pale white, but black hair. I can't even imagine how fake your hair must look. It must look awful, because no hair companies are bleaching the roots. So you got these very black doll's hairlines going all the way along. So, all right, I'm gonna have to include you people in what I'm solving here. Feel free to say thank you. All right. Oh yeah, but somebody else figured out the color 18 solution years ago and you just didn't watch enough videos. Probably not though, really. I've invented most of the stuff I say I've invented. And it's not because I think I've invented it, it's just that I haven't seen anyone else ever do it. So I have invented it, it's just that sometimes inventions already exist. So I didn't know about this solution. Getting color number 18, which is a dark blonde. Doesn't even look blonde at all, does it? It is, apparently. And it makes the doll's hairlines minimal. I can't see what you can see because everything's like I'm underwater right now. Okay, but hopefully that's in focus. I'm just leaving it up to the iPhone technology and your eyeballs and your attention span. I'm angry in advance that people don't have a good attention span. Sorry to those of you who have a brain. But if you're like, click, 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 hurry up. And I'm like that too sometimes. Somebody's fucking wasting my time. But I think you'll agree that I'm trying to be content rich here. I'm not trying to fucking waste all your time. But I have a history of not giving a shit though, that's true. But also I think it's valuable when my frustrations are displayed. That's part of what makes this channel honest. Do you know how much of an opportunity I've had to just make money by telling you what to buy and I just get affiliate links? I could have been doing that. But I never did. I've got some, but only things I've thought of through and suggested, okay? But after a lot of research, I don't think anyone would deny my effort level in this channel. Not on editing, obviously, I don't give a fuck. But everything else, the experiments, the money I've spent. I'm just trying to pray that the doll's hairlines really are as invisible as I was hoping. They're somewhat visible, but not very visible. They're much more reduced than the brown ones. You can clearly see those lines there on the brown versus the blonde. Am I delusional? Maybe they're just as bad. Maybe this won't work after all. For me, at the moment, it's all about the front hairline. Because I can't get in and bleach that. Color 18 should be light enough. Anyway, I'm going to cover this in ultra hold and get all this shitty glue off my fingers, and I already shaved that good. And refill this fucking thing. Oops, I didn't mean to press record, I must have just clamped it. Hopefully it's recording nicely. I don't know if I've left this to dry long enough. This is ultra hold. It's nice to have that familiar glue back because I can rely on this a lot more than this. Placement. This is the struggle. Can't do the line thing anymore because there's glue all over it already. And I'm not going to put a line there and then smoosh it around. So I'm just going to have to do it like normal and attempt to make it land correctly. And once again, my stuff's all in the other room. By the way, when using Ultra Holds, if you use a brush to put it on, you can kiss the brush goodbye. But don't actually kiss the brush, because then you'd be sort of like eating glue, which is not a good idea. Cover's gone, sorry. Alright. See if I can make this land correctly. First thing I want to do, and it's good that I don't have to worry about water, I just have to worry about it sticking to itself. Just spray it with water so I can see what I'm doing. It's curling around and wants to touch itself. I guess we all feel a bit like that sometimes, but mostly you. Okay, I'll put this on my head. No, I'm not going to give myself head, I wish I could. Sorry. Sometimes when you're on a roll, it's best to just shut up because each consecutive joke weakens the one that preceded it. Okay. Little bottle boss and a little bottle deep. Godspeed. Okay, so I am prioritizing the front hairline, which I think should be about there, and these corners, which need to be absolutely fucking accurate. I've often complained about Ultra Hold, and I just do have a lot to complain about with this glue, but it does hold a lot stronger than any water-based glue. And it can be re-stuck when you fuck up or after it lifts. And it's waterproof. It doesn't stop water, like sweat between the skin and that glue lifting. Should I just wait until it dries before I brush it? I'm just so tempted to brush it out of the way so I can correct anything immediately. I've become a bit of a table surface snob. I hate the sound of big, loud, banging tables. And also, if you place something on it, I don't want it to grip. And when I just tried to fix this hairpiece, I was on the carpet and it was too soft. Like I couldn't put something down without it falling over. So the surface matters. From time to time throughout my existence, I've seen beautiful desks. And I know leather's a nice material, but I don't want you to have to hurt animals. I don't think it's necessary. So, but the leather, imitation leather, which is made out of plastic, which is dug up from all, well, grassland deposits from thousands of years ago, millions of years ago. And then we make plastic and stuff out of it, probably bad for the environment. But if I had to choose, I'd choose a bit of pollution, not a lot, just a little bit, over hurting living animals, because that's just murder. Murder so we can wear their skin. Oh, there's hardly any lifting straight away. How good is Ultra Hold compared to the other shit? Alright, Ultra Hold as it is. I might have to get more. I was starting to lean. First I went through a tape phase fairly recently, then I went through this water-based ghost on phase, but that was at times when I didn't care if it came off. But if you care if it comes off, I still think maybe Ultra Hold is the only way to do it at this point in history. And I don't know that it's a great glue, but there's not much else. And hopefully they don't make that of horses' hooves or something. I don't know who it was who discovered that horses' hooves make good glue. That's done, right? And I don't have to worry about any water getting into it. I just had a shower, but I can just get wet. Can't sweat though, but it's best not to sweat ever if you wear a hairpiece. But with Ultra Hold, you stand more of a chance because there's a buffer area. So far, it looks like I don't even need to dye it, but I know I do need to dye it, just because I've been putting on so much weight lately. Not really, but it sounded good. I had to close the joke. Now, I'm sure when it dries, it will be too blonde and I'll have to dye it. But at the moment, I think the placement seems good. It's hard to tell with the corners. I'm always worried the corners will slip down. This did still remain a wider front after I'd finished with it. And I will be going with a brush back look. But unlike my suspicion when I first saw how it came in out of the box, I don't think I have any more problems worrying about the hair, despite being stitched that way, potentially being okay. But this is 4 inches long though, so 4 inches should overcome the stitching direction because of the weight of the hairs. I'll flip the camera so you can get a bit of a close-up. It is wet, so it's not good. It's not a good measuring stick, but this is 0.06 millimeters. This is the oversized frontal from LordHair. My discount coupon code is StickOnHair, one word, that you use at checkout, but you can only ever use it once, so don't waste it on some purchase that's less than $500. Otherwise, you're wasting your 20% off opportunity. Where the fuck are you there? Okay, 20% off, that's $200 off if you buy $1,000 worth of stuff, okay? Or $20 off if you're dumb enough to use that, waste that coupon code on something that's only $100. On top of that, LordHair have a VIP friendship deal thing going on where you get more discounts, $100 off here, and your friend gets $60 off there, and they say you get a free hairpiece occasionally and stuff. I don't know what the deals are with that, but read into it. It sounds like it's very much worth your time. If you're willing to show your before and after photos, you get deals with them or coupon codes, and if you're going to be buying hairpiece, it's almost like they're paying you for it, right? Because you're going to be buying more. And then make videos, and that's even more benefits. That's not why I started this, by the way. I'm not affiliated specifically with any hair company. I rip every hair bit. I think if you've seen my videos, you know that I rip every hair company to pieces. But I just need to find places that are reliable, and I'm not going to go back through my experimental phase of getting ripped off and having my time wasted by companies that I don't like. Because I went through all the experimental times. That's why I make so many videos for you guys now that are just like, don't think, just do what I say. It'll save you a lot of stress. Plus, it's cheap enough. You probably could go to Alibaba or something and try to negotiate with people over there. I don't know. Depends how greedy the hair companies get, whether or not you want to explore that far. Otherwise, you want free international shipping that arrives at your house within a week. Admittedly, these ones took 2 weeks and they didn't do the administration properly. It still probably says processing on the web, if I log in and see what the status of the delivery of this hairpiece that I'm wearing right now is. Because they never confirmed or anything that it was being delivered. It just arrived. And I was really worried about it, which was unnecessary stress from my end if they had just done their job properly. But I think they've done their job properly in regards to creation of this hairpiece, because unless my old man eyes deceive me, that's much less visible roots than ever before. I don't know how much closer up I can get for you, but there you go. Now I have not yet dyed this, and during the dyeing process I may drip product into the hairs. And I'm not used to having a brush back look, so to do something like this and then think that I'm not going to sweep it forward afterwards is a new concept to me. I'm not sure how well it's going back here at the balding area. But I'd rather that than have the fucking patoolement problem that I used to have and shaving off all my good hair around here and trying to invent a fake shave zone. But so far, from what I see here, this is the answer. Also, we should examine whether or not 0.06 millimeters is too thick. Is it? Is it too thick? Is it too much of a shadow? In this lighting, I can't see any problem at all in this lighting. Yeah, all this stuff hanging down over my face. If it was 3 inches, it would hang there and it wouldn't be a problem, but 4, maybe 4.5, some of these hairs. This is really good. I'm quite certain I can't just leave it blonde. I mean, I might be able to brush it through and it just kind of works anyway, and I don't have to dye it, but it would look like I dyed my hair, at least, wouldn't it? And I'm probably not going to worry about dyeing the rest of my hair this shade of color number 18, dark blonde ash. So with that kind of settled before it even begins, I'm kind of inclined to stick to the plan and dye this hairpiece. Unless, under every lighting condition, it just looks great being blonde at the front and brown everywhere else when it dries and stuff. But that's pretty fucking good in this lighting so far. And unfortunately, NYX Shine Killer no longer exists, so there's nothing we can do about that. So that's a 2-inch haircut all around, and then 4 inches at the front there. Okay, so I graduate the hair length from 2 inches there, I think it goes 2.5, 3, 3.54. That's what I've done, just in this front area. And I always think that this area here is where your length changes. The rest should be considered a bit separate. Although 2 inches, it's 2 inches here as well, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But I just hate it when your hair goes up, boofy, up to that point back there. And this is what a lot of hairdressers have done to me, that's why I'm saying this. They give me a haircut that's all boofy up here, and then it's sort of flat on the rest. It just looks shit. It needs to follow the contour of your skull. Okay? Unless it's all so wiry and curly and everything that you're doing something completely different. But if you look like you're trying to get it right and you fail, that's when it's fucked, right? So it comes up like that and boom, that's fucked. At this point, I haven't dyed it, but I'm happy with what I'm seeing. Probably the best hairpiece I've worn in the last 10 years, at least. Probably forever. Probably the best hairpiece I've ever worn. Right now, this one I'm wearing. Now it's time for my $580 exercise. Munjaro. It's like Ozempic. Oh, look at this. Got 3 more injections remaining. Start with an alcohol swab. My leg right there. Take a syringe head, screw it on, take the lid off, wind this shit back, needle, can't zoom on that, can I? Lid back on, back in the box, back in the fridge. Get rid of this biological waste. And now I'm thin. Okay, I'm gonna go and have a look in the mirror in this lighting. The hair's flipped forward naturally, which may result in me needing to, I can't see shit. Brush it back all the time. I don't really want to brush it back all the time. I'll probably just have to cut it to 3 inches instead of 4 inches. But how does the blonde merge with the rest? It's not completely dry yet, but it should be dry enough for you to distinguish the colors. Is it too stark? Is it too long? Is it the right length? Is it the right color? So it's probably not the right color. Hasn't got any product in it at all as well. Should I just go ahead and dye it now so I can release this video? I'm pretty sure that the difference in color will be very, very stark in sunlight, even if it's not completely stark right now. But though, is it the sort of hair dye job that people would accept as being, oh, that was cool the way you've dyed the front? The thing is, I don't really want to draw people's attention to my hair because then I start asking questions. But does a lighter shade of brown, it doesn't even look brown anymore, it's starting to look blondish now. They're exactly the same color. It's out of the box. This is just cut. That's the last piece of ore. Brown. Definitely a darker colour. This is brown where I've dyed the front blonde to try to cope with all the roots. With this, the roots are already blonde, and I'd be dyeing the rest of the hairpiece, which seems, if I can pull it off, easier than bleaching the impossible to reach roots. I'll switch camera around because now that it's dry, you'll get an even better view of the root system. Okay, so this is the back-facing camera on the iPhone 16 Pro. This is 0.06mm thick poly. The main problem is going to be that plastic line that will become visible, which might mean I don't really ever want to have a brushed back look. Maybe a bit of chunk of glue right there that I need to clean up. The corners, which are always the biggest, most difficult part of a frontal, these corners here, seem to be at least positioned well. Looks like I've got some glue on my forehead here. And it really is peace of mind to use Ultra Hold rather than Ghost Bond. Though it'll annoy me when it starts getting a bit boofy. Now, when it starts getting tacky and gross, probably, I don't know, but it's still the better of the two. I'm thinking I'll go ahead and dye this now. And maybe I should try to avoid getting it in these hairs, in my real hairs. Though I think it's probably unavoidable. This is still wet from earlier today. Bend over. Okay, so we'll put some of this into the bowl. That much. And then that much developer. Might need a bit more developer, that's quite thick. I'm trying to think how I'm going to do this neatly. I feel like maybe I should wet my hair. But then I won't be able to see. But then I won't anyway because it'll dry within 45 minutes, whatever how long it takes. And I really don't want to splash it. And my glasses are in the way as well. Just putting the lids on everything with one hand. Now what do? Do I just start? I'll neaten that. Okay, so I don't know if there's good consistency. It's so thick that it's not even moving. That could be too dark, maybe. I want to put a bit more developer in. And now it's got some yogurty movement. I should be more careful. I should worry about you less and worry about my bench top and cupboards and everything more. Let's get started. Let's go straight into it. My hair will be wet the moment I touch it anyway. I keep forgetting not to dig my fingers down deep, which is what I've just been doing, which means I've been staining the base. If I stain the base, this is all been a waste of time. For this bit, I really feel like I need glasses on, but there's no way for me to pick up glasses and put them on my face. I just wish glasses technology was better. And apparently, there are no contact lenses that will correct my astigmatism. I keep telling myself that a little bit of dye on things won't matter much, but it probably will. Even a little bit will cause permanent staining. Hopefully the developer and dye mix is correct. I'm going to guess it was 60% dye and 40% developer. There's a bit left over. And I'm not sure what the effect will be dyeing this colour onto my natural hair at the same time in the surrounding area. I kind of need to have a proper look at this, but I need to take these gloves off and then I won't be able to touch it. Alexa, set the alarm for 40 minutes. Alexa, set the alarm for 40 minutes.
40-minute alarm set for 10:10 p.m.
I've got to be careful with these gloves and everything that drips out of this because I don't think I got all the dye off. And if I needed more dye just now, I just poured it down the sink. Everything's just so much harder with glasses. I feel like I'm going to be skipping cutting corners with a lot of things. The most important thing is to realize that I can't see properly and never trust my reflection if I'm making sure that my hairpiece looks accurate. I need to make sure the glasses on and the lighting is good. And the main reason people seem to be able to tell if somebody is wearing a hairpiece is when they have a hair system that goes back there and they're wearing some, I think it's usually people who dye their hair from grey to another colour. That colour that they've dyed their hair ends up being like purpley brown back here, while the hairpiece is a different darker brown. Obviously brown against purple is you're gonna be able to tell. Another thing is the hairline, if you fuck that up. The doll's hairlines, of course, the squash dance, which is what we're trying to solve today. I just really hope my natural hair doesn't go super dark here. And then this is, you know, semi-brown, and it's just a weird mishmash of mess that I've just done to myself. Ideally, I would dye this off head, then put it up there and go, is that about the same? Yeah, it'll do. And then I'll put it on my head in the future. The best way to set that up, I'm imagining, would be, I guess I could put saran wrap, glad wrap, over a mannequin head, but no, I couldn't stain it. And then I would potentially pin this with deep pins without massive pin heads, so that I can run my fingers over and through it properly without getting caught on the pins. And just do one hairpiece at a time. But if I do get that rectangle, what's the new width? I didn't write it down. The new width is wider than the old width. I hope I remember to make a stencil out of this thing. Also, I don't really know if 40 minutes is a good time to wait for this to change colour. Can still see the plastic there. But there's not any exposed base, which is good. Because the factory did a good job in cutting the front hairline nicely. I barely touched that with scissors before I put this on. It was mostly just around the back, which makes me think it might be worth the extra money to not have to cut out most of it. But like I say, it's got this fucking Auschwitz tag. Luckily, the last one was positioned back far enough that it was cut off back here. Also, the other concern I had was that the hairs from this unit are, by default, stitched away from the hairline for a forced brush back look. But at least with 4 inches, it doesn't seem to be a problem. In fact, 4 inches is probably too long and unnecessary. If I'm gonna put my hair back, I don't know all the nice ways to put my hair back. When I think of somebody with a brush back look, I'm thinking about gel, like rock hard gel. By the way, if you do manage, because I think I've solved the doll's hairlines today, unless I've splashed dye in places that is going to wreck this. But in terms of the doll's hairlines, I think we've solved it, because we've got medium dark blonde, and they're super hard to see, which is good enough, I guess. In fact, it's probably what I want. It's probably the color I want them to do at the factory. Because if they did the light blonde, they'd end up like my last attempt at this, which was using the color 22, which might have looked invisible at the roots, but it didn't blend nicely into the brown. So this could be already what I've shown you here, except for the fact that I had to dye it myself and cut it myself and all these other things. It could be the ultimate solution, maybe. We'll see. So far, it seems like the best solution I've ever seen. And you know I don't like much. I hate most things. So for me to give anything a thumbs up at all it must be fucking awesome, right? Which is why you can trust me. And my arch nemesis are anybody who blocks complaints because they're trying to stop progress. I don't mind if the progress is going to cause harm, then yeah, complain. I mean, stop that from happening. But I think complaints about things that need to be improved are very good, very important. You should complain. I think it's your duty to complain if things are not good. And I just don't understand people who are against complaints. Why? Why do you want the world to be a worse place? Unless you're blaming complaints for the world being a bad place. That's fucking weird mentality. Like, people complain when they're in pain or they've been put out by something that's not well made or well regarded. I mean, I can imagine there are times when people complain when maybe they shouldn't, but I'd need to have those examples pointed out, including all provocations. Glad to have gotten rid of these greys with the real hair dye today. Still a couple along the front where maybe I didn't put enough dye there. Seems like there are a few underneath. Maybe 40 minutes wasn't enough. Are they still grey? Or is it just the reflection of the light? The reflection of the light. And I also think by dyeing the greys, I softened and flattened the frizz down a bit. I tamed the frizz a bit. The other thing that tames frizz is having longer hair. There's usually a boofy length where it's unavoidably springy. And as you can imagine, if I cut my hair short around here, I'd always have to cut my hair short up here too. There's no way around it. Otherwise it'll be a punk style comb, like a rooster. But I would love for this to just organically just move back nicely rather than buffing in the wrong way. I've got to stop touching that. Alright, I'll go and wait 40 minutes for this to colorize with an S and I'll come back. Brown. It's not blonde anymore, is it? Is it purple? You can see the lightness where I didn't get through there. Is it the same color as this? And did I dye this incorrectly? It's going to be hard to tell until it dries. Probably should have gone with 3 inches. Not should have. Might cut more off, that's what I'm saying. The color difference between the dark blonde and the brown doesn't seem to be too apparent, which is good. And if we go in while I've just come out of the shower, straight into an extreme close-up of the hairline, which I'll do in a second. I'll flip the camera around for you. But I'll get my glasses because I want to see it as well. These are my new reading glasses. So I've got a bit of glow on the forehead here. That's not nice, but I could wipe that off with C22. Camera. Hey guys, all the main footage that I made about putting this hairpiece on and everything else has been lost. I've been trying to find it off the iPhone and transferring it in, so I'll explain to you what I did. I think I messed up. I missed a lot. Anyway, I put this stuff in my hair. These glasses are wrong as well. These are good for watching the big screen when I'm in the lounge room doing video editing. Okay, that's why I wear. I'm gonna get. Hopefully this doesn't fuck up. I've got 5 pairs of glasses. It's nonsense. All right. As I was explaining in the video that's been lost, this is all one video to you, but for me it's lots of videos, and I'm gonna have to edit this now for the next few hours. This is the best hairpiece I've ever had. Now it's got, you know, deliberate gunky muck through it. This is not muck. Muck is better. Get muck. This brand is not as good as muck. This just washes straight off your hands. Muck is thick and wholesome. Or get the red one stuff. That's good too. I don't know if they're in the description below, but you know how to find them. Red one, R-E-D space O-N-E, clay. I'm talking about clay. Clay gives you some hold, right? I didn't really like this stuff, this come in a tube stuff. I like this stuff. I did spray this in, but it just smells good. Doesn't really do much else. This is a brush back look. I'll give you an extreme close-up. I don't know if I showed in the previous videos, which I'm about to edit through now for the next few hours. I don't know if I showed you extreme close-ups already, but I'll do it again now. Okay. Like I said, this is the best hairpiece I've ever had. The hair is mostly dry. You seeing the hairline? It's hard for me to tell what you're seeing. But if you can see what I think you're seeing, then you should be able to see for the first time in your life, you're now looking at a hairpiece that doesn't have doll's hairlines that are highly visible. It's much better than the blonde. Note to self, insert previous footage of the 22. That's the 22, that's the 18. Colors I'm talking about, okay? That's supposed to be blonde. That's what I'm wearing right now, but I dyed it. Hopefully the footage of me dyeing it is in this, I don't know. Anyway, I dyed my hair, had a shower immediately because I used Ultra Hold, much better hold than the other shit. I was just sick of the gunk, and I might get sick of it again after it's been on for a few days. But really, there's no comparison. It's got a much stronger hold. I'm pretty sure that's, I mean, the doll's hairlines are somewhat visible if you look right up close, I guess. Hopefully that's focusing for you. I don't know, I can't trust the iPhone. Anyway, the iPhone just lost a heap of data. And with the brush back look, I'm not going to get the joggling. So if I sprayed this with hairspray into position and locked it down, it would be good. I'm not going to get them out of the drawer because it's all down there with the fucking hair dryer. I hate using it. I don't know if I'll ever use it again. I used it with hair defense. All of these things in the description below. And yeah, sorry I fucked up the experiment where I was going to use that, fuck. I don't want to turn the fan on by reaching into the shower. You know what the stuff I'm talking about, the gradual hair dye stuff, look it up. Made a video about it. Sorry for fucking up that experiment because I just couldn't be bothered and I wanted the greys to be gone immediately so that it would all look good and complete. Now, here, like this for you, okay? Yeah. The other version of this was better because I was actually doing stuff. But yeah, I guess the end result is what matters most. And here we can see that the hairs look like they're actually growing out of my head with no doll's hairlines. No squished ends, no doll's hairlines. It is the best you can do. I don't know why anyone from black to red to not blonde you don't have to worry about any of this, right? Everybody should start with this color, unless you're lighter than this. Red, black, brown, I've thought it all through. This gives you invisible roots. Nothing else seems to, unless you go ultra blonde, but that's too hard to go deep enough to meld with any other color. I reckon this at the root would look okay with black. I think it would look okay with red. Okay, against white, dark, brown skin, whatever. I think it'll work. Let me know if I'm wrong. And then either dye it yourself using the method I just showed you, and in the future I'll be dyeing a bunch of them at the same time, not one at a time, on a mannequin head. I'll probably cover the mannequin head in saran wrap, cling wrap, glad wrap, pin with low profile pins to keep it all down so I can rub my hands through it. I don't want to go super deep anyway to touch the base. And then I'll maybe place it gently without any of the dirty fingers touching anything. Anyway, I'll do a bunch of those. I'm planning ahead. But for now, this experiment is successful. I think this is very good. And I've got a brush back. Look, I could go straight back if I wanted to, so long as the plastic is not visible. I mean, who's going to fault that hairline? All the way across. Are you getting close enough? Maybe I can zoom even more. How's that? So like I said, this is the best hairpiece I've ever had. It's all thanks to this color. This is also 0.06 instead of 0.03, which probably means that the plastic that's glued onto the base is tighter, squeezing the V-loops in tighter. My hairstyle is cut to 4 inches at the front, graduating down to 2 inches everywhere else. And I fucking love it, and it's like a weight off my shoulders to have found this. Hopefully it'll help you. Alright, I haven't slept yet, but I've been rolling around in bed, just lying there, trying to sleep, but haven't. That's the time, in case you were tracking all that stuff. It's just so boofy. Let's look at the hairline now that it's sunny. Let the sun shine. It's direct sunlight, okay? We'll bring you over here so you're in the sunlight too. Can't get more honest than that. Direct sunlight. Where's the camera? I'll give you the better camera. Okay, and this is a nice camera. I'm trying not to shade my head. Are you seeing any of this? This is what I could achieve with this number 18 blonde. Yeah. Just trying to learn the German accent. I've always been bad at it, but I forgot all the rules. And they vary with different German speakers when they make the little mistakes in English. There's nothing, everything I'm doing is putting a shadow. How do I get it? How do I film without creating a shadow? Hopefully you got a good idea. I feel like I've solved the hairpiece problem if that really works. And now I would like to try, I'm so shit at it, to get rid of the boof. And so I've been thinking a lot. In fact, I made an appointment for 3 o'clock today, but then I realized I've got to go to sleep. I can't make it to the appointment. It was 3 o'clock, so It's already 10 and I haven't started sleeping. I took a sleeping tablet an hour ago. It's a pretty strong one too. Didn't have any effect on me really. I am very tired though and sick. And my idea was this. It's $800 or whatever to get a keratin treatment, 400, 350, I don't know, anything. It's just hundreds of dollars, okay? It's not, I haven't got that much money. So I started thinking, all right, what do I do? Hair dryer every day? Isn't there something more permanent I can do that would last for weeks? And I thought, what if I thinned my hair? And I started looking at YouTube videos about thinning your own hair with thinning scissors and razors that if you did it from behind your head, you'd cut yourself probably. I mean, those heating tongs, the hair iron, it's ridiculously dangerous. I don't want to ever have to deal with that again. I don't like this buff, by the way. I hate it. I want it to just be sleek. So I thought, I'll go to a salon. It sort of falls under the umbrella of men's haircut, doesn't it? So I'm thinking, potentially, if they could just thin all my natural hair to like, I don't know, a quarter of its thickness, it'd remove the bulk, it'd lie flat, it would be easier to style, and all this stuff would just fall nicely down on top of it. So I'm thinking, just get a professional hairdresser to use thinning scissors so I can maintain my hair length, or even grow it a bit longer if I wanted to. Then I don't even need to straighten it. It won't cost a fortune. It costs about $45. Maybe don't ever use that dangerous thing in that drawer there, that heating iron. And then my hair would conform to my head instead of being attracted to some invisible static bouquet of party balloons. A static bouquet of party balloons. Balloons. What does it really look like under the light of day? Is it realistic to show? Is it realistic enough to totally walk around with a brush back look? Or get an extreme close-up in a movie? It's all about the plastic now, isn't it? It's all about the straight line of plastic, making sure that's pressed right down, and potentially even getting in there somehow. I don't know, scissors aren't the right way because it's too sharp, those lines are too sharp, they're not organic. What you want is this shape, that like a map of a coastal line, you know? I don't know how to achieve that. With lace, you can just sort of pluck at it, but you don't need to, because, well, you do, because you don't want a grid around the front of your hair. So you can pluck at lace and deform it. With this plastic, it's unpluckable. And so now I would like to tell you, I can't think of words, I'm fucking tired. This is a brush. I go to YouTube to teach. You don't have to do that at all. And now I am going to speak in shaky voice. I think they can remember to put little, what's the word for little words like are, to, of, on, incidental words? I can't remember what they're called. Are they prepositions? Is that what it is? Doesn't sound like it would be a preposition. Prepositions like, will you marry me, right? I don't know. I've forgotten how to speak English. I've watched a lot of videos, but my brain just doesn't take in information anymore. But I did invent the concept in my mind that thinning scissors by a professional, if I told them it's currently 2 inches, I'm growing it to 3 inches or 4 inches, and I want it to be stylable during this time, and I'll be coming back for more treatments. Or I might keep it at 2, but I definitely don't want to go lower than 2. That means that they're not allowed to cut it. Those are pretty strict instructions. So I'll bring in a ruler, although, see, if you offend them by bringing in a ruler and saying this is the starting length, we'll measure it at the end as well to make sure that we haven't lost any length. Maybe you can tell them you got to do a shoot of some sort. You're an ongoing. You have an ongoing role in a television series, and you need to look the same as last episode. You can't come back. You can't come back with a shorter haircut. They can't write it into the script. Because you're constantly flashing back between the past and the present, so it's not like it's just future linear, and the haircut would make sense because they can write it in and yet haircut. They would have to fully spend thousands of dollars making a wig for me that tried to replicate what I once had. Whereas as a hairdresser, all you have to do is you do your fucking job over here, and then the hair, don't fucking cut it. You hear me? Capiche? So that's my new idea, which would save hundreds of dollars. And would still allow for some kind of curlage and waviness. Don't know how well it would work. That's pretty fucking boofy by default, isn't it? Anyway, and you can imagine, if I tried to put hair product, and this has been my life mission, to try to stick that shit down. And I can say, if it gets longer, like if it gets to 4 inches and it's like down up to there, then it would probably have some weight to it. But it would still be fucking boofy, right? I think I'm on the right track. I haven't thought of any other better idea that is that cheap. I really want to be able to get rid of this boof even if I don't have my hair thinned. So I'm going to try, without using water or cheating by using stuff that contains a lot of water, to get this boof down. So we've got the fiber foam coming in a can. We've got the paste, clay, oil. How oily am I willing to go? Because I get the feeling that potentially if I smother my head in this oil, and I mean a lot of oil, because it's going to take a lot to get this down, I could potentially get it to drop. But I think in a lot of cases, professionals or people who are just used to it use a hair dryer. Use on towel dried hair for suppleness. Use on dry hair to add shine. I don't just want to go shiny from here, but I know this isn't a long solution. I have other hair products. Maybe I should just open the box and take a look. Red One hair wax. This is not the red one I keep telling you about. Red One clay is what I keep talking about. Creative fiber wax. I reckon this would be sticky the whole time. Contender maybe. This is gel, anti-crunch gel, which means I probably could hold it down, sort of, but from memory, you know, you move your hair a little bit and it fluffs out. This is cruel clay. It's exactly the same stuff as this. I must have bought a couple of them. Got this fiber from Barber & Co. Given this is called fiber, and this is also kind of called fiber, but this is fiber mousse. This might be an answer. Look, I can't even really dint it with my finger. You've got to get in there and scoop it. We've got wax, which is always greasy. From Link's Messy Look Matte Gel. That's gel, that'd be shiny, and I know it would wet my hair enough to push it down to an extent, but the curls would probably be exacerbated. Not that it's a problem, so long as it's not boofy, I guess. Mojo Hair Defining Paste. I'd need a lot of that. That smells like the American Crew type petroleum stuff. Stronghold Natural Matte Finish. Fudge Hair Shaper, which is a deceptively small container. I remember this stuff. It doesn't have any hold, it just kind of makes your hair sticky. Hair Wax Matte Look. It's gonna just make my hair disgusting. I've never liked wax. Frizzies, which is designed to do what I'm describing. It's super expensive and it hardly lasts at all. This one says, start with dry hair, rub a small amount of cream into the palms and pull them through styled or natural hair. Concentrating on ends, take with you to reapply on the go whenever you need a touch up. And then I got more of this stuff, which is nowhere near as nice as the spray version, because the spray version smells good. That's about it. This is quite full at the moment. I really don't think this has any hold, really. I'll see what I can do with it. This is gonna kind of be clean, but the tube is just tiny, right? I'm gonna start with this stuff. So this is just not brushing it, just allowing my curls to win. I'm letting them win, okay? I'll just lay in bed for about, I don't know, what time do I go to bed? Hours ago, midday. Had a full sleep. Go with the brush back look this time, but still allow the curls to be where they want to be. So there's no hairbrush involved, just fingers, and maybe it would dry in a reasonable way. But no hairbrush has been involved. So letting myself know that the boof is going to be part of the structure the whole time. I'm just using my fingertips instead of a hairbrush. John Frieda, isn't it? John Frieda Frizzies. I'm pretty sure this is about 40 bucks a tube. I just used about half of it. That's $20 worth of hair styling, which I may soon just wipe out of my hair with water. It's not economical. I am so glad I can finally show my front hairline without any kind of problem at all. I could try to brush it from here. I guess I care more about getting rid of the boof than anything else. And we'll see what happens when this dries, because at the moment I feel like it's kind of in position. I can't walk around with these are just reading glasses. The important thing for me is I need to get my look. I need to look in the mirror like when you're not here. It's really the only time I look in the mirror when I'm making these videos. Because I never go out, but I will be going out tomorrow and I'd rather look good. This shirt doesn't fit, the sleeves only go up to there. Be nice to get new clothes and make sure that my glasses that I just purchased suit me, which means I'm probably gonna have to go back and swap them because I've got 30 days to think about it and it's been about 15 days. So I've got a little bit of a ticking clock in making sure that they make revisions to it. But so far, that's what I've been able to achieve. And once again, the secret is color number 18. So it's been 3.5 hours since I put the John Frieda frizzies through my hair. The level of buff. I'm gonna shave my neck in a second. Just give another quick look at the hairline and evaluate how well this John Frieda stuff has held my hair in position. Get a close up here. I'm not sure if I should keep them stark or fade that in. Okay, so from the side it looks like this. I'm gonna come around here, close up on the hairline. My grey's going back here. You can see what looks like greys starting to form throughout all of this. It's a bald patch on the back. Considerable amount of buff front here. This is what a 2-inch all over hair cut generally looks like with a 4-inch fringe. That's my, I think that's the COVID side. That's the flu side. Had 2 shots. So obviously, I've got to do something about this, and that is diet and exercise. But before that, I've got to care. I've got to look in the mirror more often and be more vain. I have to be more vain in order to care about this, because I don't want to go out and exercise. I just want to sit in a chair for the rest of my life until I'm dead. But there is stuff that is still left to be done in this world, I guess. I don't have any responsibilities. But, except to you, I guess. For you are my children. realistic. The main concern is any of the plastic line that could happen along the front hairline. Yeah, so weight loss is a big one, so that I can get my jaw back, so that my jaw and my neck are two separate things. And yeah, so weight loss, might as well bulk up as well while I'm at it. So I've got some, what are these called, lats or glutes, or not glutes, glutes back there. I don't know what these ones are they lats? What are these ones under here called? Also, I could have some definition along the way, not that I ever take my top off. And then the hair will be good and be on a body that it deserves. The most important thing for you guys to know is by colour number 18 from now on, and potentially the hair company will dye that colour number 18 hairpiece to your hair colour, and you will no longer have visible roots. Or if they are visible, they're only this visible. Okay? And if you haven't already done so, you need to build yourself a mirror cam setup with an iPad suction cupped to the bathroom mirror. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get much done.